find that they're lacking.
It's cleaver time!
To be the questions, because if Yuma starts to fall behind with his chronospheres, they start to fall behind with any of their gold, this game gets really difficult really quickly.
And then very much going to be interested to keep an eye, interested in keeping an eye on the build from DarkMago on that Kunkka, because okay, Yuma goes in. Yuma drops a chronosphere, right? How do you deal with Ghost Ship? If DarkMago goes for either of the Scepter or Shard, do you have your BKB up? Because then Torrent Storm or Tidal Wave just pulls you out of your initiation, and half the duration of your chronosphere is wasted trying to get back into position in the first place. So how quickly can they get BKBs? How well can they use them? And I think maybe even more importantly after that, ET, can they keep the fight going once the BKBs wear off? Because that's what did them in last time. Their heroes got BKBs on the Raven's side. It's just, well, once the duration ended, the fight wasn't over yet, and they got cleaned up.
Oh, it's a difficult problem. We're a little bit all chatting as well, you know. Yuma just talking it up a little bit. Yuma definitely slotting in, funnily enough, the easiest of many of these players that just kind of crashed onto the scene. But the SA Blaze, they welcome you. They welcome you in stride. As long as you don't mess up their games, you know. They want their MMR too.
That's true. That's the thing. No, nobody likes a griefer. Other than that, though, you're all good. But we'll see what comes here with the bounty rune spawns. Parker is making his way up the river, and Demon's got to be a little careful. Yeah, he's gonna get stunned up. Stroke of Fate slow is not super relevant there because they kind of threw it out early, but it does mean Demon has to cookie himself up onto the high ground, and well, having Cookie instead of Scatterblast at level 1, I'm not really sure that's super relevant anyway, but it does mean that there's maybe a little bit less damage coming out from the Snapfire through the first wave or two.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit trickier to get that ranged creep, but, you know, it could be worse. But this is a tough lane. This is where Parker already, gets to work, starts nuking you out, where you're going to look at those stick charges. Sticks that only Parker has so far, but will definitely be in queue sooner than later. But is a very obnoxious lane, one that you have to tread lightly or just keep on diving in and keep on buying regen, because it is going to be there. Stinger's got 5 mangoes, man. He is ready to make those trades happen.
Oh, he came to lane ready for some action. Fair enough. I mean, they picked this Grimstroke banking on his ability to do exactly what he hasn't quite done yet, but what we're assuming he is going to do. So he's got a job to do. Set up for it quite nicely. Meanwhile, over on the other side, Sacred and Raykill trying to apply a little bit of damage here early, and well, Yuma does get kind of hit by it. He's able to time walk away some of the damage, but if they stagger these abilities just that little bit, some of it is going to stick.
And there is the funny interaction that we only got to mention briefly, I think, before, but you try to kill as many of Cara's trees as possible, and then Sacred will struggle to find some of the spear follow-ups, but just means that he's going to use his spells straight up like nukes, maybe not using it directly for the lockdown, which is still going to be annoying. We'll have to see how greedy Yuma decides to get with his item build. Yuma's a mom builder on Faceless Void still. He likes to get the early lifesteal. He likes the damage that he gets in his chrono, but it means that if he does start to fall behind, no Midas shenanigans, no early Maelstrom. He's going to have to really bank on his play a little bit.
There's going to be the Spirit play up top. They did still have all the trees to the north to go for. The problem is they didn't really have any damage after that. The first Rebuke had come out, didn't have the second back up in time, so
courier has been killed.
Okay, Cara gets stunned, doesn't care, keeps on pushing through the fight, and Ravens are the ones who end up with first blood.
Yeah, just pushed a little bit too far forward and then very quickly realized their mistake. As soon as they went into that trade, they said, oh, we're both time dilated and the tree's not dead. And I guess we're dead, because Treant is just that strong of a hero. As Cara goes for a half pull, and half pull he will get. Great stuff.
And Raykill's gonna try his best to nab something out of this, right? Just get a little bit of gold for himself, but that first exchange very much backfiring for Beastcoast. But if you're Sacred, I don't know. You die, it's unfortunate, but he's right back into the lane, and that really is the only way that Sacred goes down here, is if he and Raykill are overextending. Outside of that, you're laning against a Faceless Void. He is not going to kill you.
Radiant structures are fortified.
On the other side, though, Benjaz, he's getting pressured up a little bit. Second time now that he's been pushed all the way back to his tower with 100, 150 somewhat health, so having a little bit of a rough time. And you take a look at the last hit counts here. 12-1 for him, 22-6 for Parker, so this is not going to the usual plan of the Brood, not really taking control of the lane just yet, but maybe more importantly than that, ET behind on the experience as well. He just hit level 3, so he's about a half level behind his opponents.
Yeah, just getting bullied a little bit and getting shoved behind. Of course, DarkMago doesn't have any denies, but it's just been catching Pipi pushed really far back and just getting him quite literally out of the XP range. Been a few instances where Pipi just runs out of actual HP or mana to actually give into the fights. Like even right now, DarkMago is just abusing the fact that he's up in your face. And very interestingly, DarkMago doesn't go for the bracers. He goes for the bottle rush and he goes for early boots. So valuing, instead of the big damage that you get from bracers, just being annoying and being able to dodge out probably some of those early splitters as well, which is paying off.
Yeah, a little bit of a risk, but a calculated one that, say, is working for the time being. But we'll see. Maybe PP changes it up. Maybe he tries to get more aggressive once he realizes the Punko doesn't have as much durability. But 5 minutes into the lane, I feel like the amount of time to make that sort of switch up is already kind of dwindling. As bottom, Benjaz going to work here, trying to fight up against Parker. Gets a little bit of help in there from the cookie stun, and Parker does go down. Stinger doesn't have the damage to finish off the Broodmother either. Does have a Stroke of Fate, though, which is not going to actually reach. So, Ravens will win another fight on the other side of the map from the original one, but they are coming out ahead for the most part here. Sacred, you okay? Kind of. Gonna survive the initial fight, ET, but Raykill pulled Cara back like they wanted to try something, but there's really no mana. Didn't have any spells available at the time either, so the Dilation is really kind of messing with the timings for this offlane duo.
Yeah, it's very annoying. Does overextend a little bit. Cara takes a few tower shots, but I'm just surprised that Cara doesn't have any points up in living armor just yet. He's going for the more lane-oriented build, of course, with the Leech Seed, and as long as he can get the Leech Seed onto him and Yuma every once in a while, it's a very broken spell. It feels very nice, but is a little bit strange. This living armor does just straight up give you, 6 armor versus the rebuke. Can be pretty fearsome, as Cara immediately gets punished for his ward, unlucky. But this lane is stabilizing it. As long as Yuma's able to actually farm these creep waves, he's not really falling any further behind. Hasn't been able to fight for too many denies, but he's quite alright. So they're getting a little bit of a play here onto Sacred, but he's got phase boots, and he's actually baiting. And yep,
he's in. Find the kill. Cara should be dying here as well. He is not very fast on the tree, so 2 kills top. DarkMago gets both, and then down bottom, ET, Parker was able to get onto Demon. Benjaz could not really defend his teammate, so Beastcoast give up the first 2 kills of the game, sure, but then they get 3 in a row in the blink of an eye, and they're right back on top.
A little bit of an odd ink swell in there from Parker, but this is the slight problem here for Ravens. If the lanes start going poorly, or at least the side lanes, Pipi's a farmer. He is looking to stack. He's looking to farm in his own jungle, be defensive, get good item timings. If things start to go awry, he's not going to be helping. He's not going to be your fixer. He's Leshrac. He's not an initiator by trade. He's going to want the early Bloodstone. He's going to want to play on his own side of the map. Best case scenario is that he just keeps on getting runes and is able to snowball, but it's tough. A Sacred, though, gets caught out by Demon. Instead of TPing back bottom, makes the play happen with his friend's top.
Nice play there. Yuma's the one to get the kill, so a little bit more progress towards that Mask of Madness that you were mentioning, and a good response. Impressive stuff for him, and Benjaz is closing in on level 6, so you're starting to get to the point where maybe... Well, maybe Demon doesn't really want to end up back bottom at all. So, make his presence felt elsewhere on the map. Get over to the middle lane as well, because with the Leshrac starting to take some of those stacked camps in the jungle, the mid lane is freed up.
They're just trying to be efficient, trying to use as much as they can right now. Still waiting for especially a play from Demon once he gets his Mortimer's. Try to pair it up with the Cronus here and then see how that goes. But Benjaz, poor guy, not much he can do in that situation.
Really no getting out of that one. Silence, stunned, caught in the X torrent, ghost ship combo. You're dying, really, no matter what. So unfortunate for him, but elsewhere on the map, his teammates are still trying to find some farm. Yuma's getting a couple hits on the Sacred here. Some dashes coming through. The Chrono deployed, but Parker's going to join the fight. Pops the Phantasm, but they need to actually save Sacred. They're doing a decent job of it, though. Sacred isn't dead yet, and it's actually Yuma who's in some trouble. He used the Time Walk earlier, so he can't immediately jump away. Sacred does still end up dying, though. Pipi gets involved, TP'd onto the tower, and comes in to find the kill, and I don't think they can get much more than, than that ET, and now the turnaround is going to be here. Do they get the X while stunned? They don't, but the Chaos Bolt does still come through. The silence is on the Pipi as well. Now DarkMago wants in. Doesn't have Ghost Ship, but he is able to connect with the turret into the Tidebringer. So Yuma will fall. Pipi goes down as well. Just the supports for Ravens here. Cara, okay. Admirable attempt there, and it might be enough to get himself and his teammate out of trouble, but the cores had already been picked off, so it's a little too late.
Oh, and it ends up being a 3-for-2 that does favor Ravens, frees up Benjaz to push out the bottom tier 1 as well, so ends up feeling not so bad, honestly. And Pipi, begrudgingly, makes the rotation. He does not want to get involved early, but you know, he does what he has to do. It's sad that he goes down, especially to something as cheap as just Tidebringer X Torrent. Doesn't even have to use the Ghost Ship because he doesn't have the Ghost Ship, and now they do have to be careful. Don't want to give DarkMago any more speed, but that was a fairly successful fight. But look at this. DarkMago, okay, didn't pop the smoke properly. Let's Benjaz get away, even though Benjaz walks right back into it. They have the damage, though. He just got put on the courier.
They've got the silence. They've got the ink swell. It's still not going to be easy. They need one more hit, and they do get it.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Yeah, that hood certainly helped, but just barely able to get the last tick of damage in there, so no. DarkMago finds himself another pick, 4-0-2. Did go for the Blade Mill build, ET. Didn't really mention that at the time that he was picking it up, so certainly an interesting pickup. Should probably see the BKB come out now that he's got that picked up. And Sacred, well, he gets picked off in the top lane. Able to make the jump onto him with 3. Demon gets the kill, and I do like that they're continuing to put pressure on this Mars ET. The problem is the other cores on Beastcoast are kind of being left alone.
Yeah, and it's pretty funny to see the second game in a row where there's a Kunkka with just ridiculous net worth at this early on into the game, and we'll see if that can stick. But back mid, Pipi under a little bit of trouble here, and Sacred, well, he's back on the map. He's looking for revenge. He's got it.
And that's a little bit of the problem with picking the Mars as the hero that you're gonna bully. He doesn't have a Blink, sure, he doesn't have a BKB. That's all kind of bad, but he still has Arena, no matter what, and if someone else sets up for him, Arena locks in and kills DarkMago. That's a little bit greedy, but they are still gonna get it. Maybe get a second kill here too, because Cara is on the run. Stroke of Fate, not enough to kill him off, but the silence will come through. They really need to be protecting DarkMago here. There's going to be your Chronosphere catching him out. Do they have the damage, though? It's going to get a little bit close. The stick comes in. They do still finish him off. Well, at the end of the day, they get the kill, right? Can't argue with that, but it's a long process to actually find that pickoff.
Yeah, very smart though. They catch him without Sacred. They saw him just straight up walk back top. They know he doesn't have TP, so there's going to be no help from him. And then the support duo is not really able to help either. Just a very nice punish, even though it feels like that's the 5th or 6th time I've seen DarkMago get an illusion rune in his bottle, and he just immediately puts pressure on his opponents with it. And of course, in that situation, gets out of overgrowth. If they didn't have that chrono, or any spell like chrono, that could have been just DarkMago walking out of there like a bandit. So it is a nice punish, but this is also Benjaz getting dragged out of bottom. He does not want to be necessarily your mid-tower defender. It's where you'd hope that some combination of the supports and Pipi are the ones to hold it, because the Spider just wants to be doing his own thing, but Benjaz is really starting to fall behind. He's not able to become that hard farmer that we typically see the Brutes become.
Yeah, he got that hood a little while back, as we mentioned, but no immediate progress towards anything else as Pipi gets caught in the middle lane. Parker and Raykill put it together, and your Leshrac doesn't really have a lot of defensive capabilities right now. He's going for that Bloodstone, which is relatively normal ET, but that means no Yules, that means no BKB for a long time yet, as Demon
is under attack.
Get himself out of this. He's going to jump over the cliff, and I think he'll be okay. DarkMago's going to give it a go, but yeah, didn't really have the vision there. But Beastcoast moving confidently into their opponent's jungle, trying to just steal this farm away. And while all this is happening, Sacred is still trying to push this tier 1 tower. A complicated process with the living armor coming into play, but if his teammates are completely taking over the jungle, it's going to feel safer going for that. As what in the world is this? DarkMago, that's a very aggressive play he's trying to make as the blade mail gets the kill onto Demon. But Pipi still locks him down, and I don't really know why he was that far forward, but he does eventually get punished for it. Raykill maybe punished as well, but Stinger's coming over to help, and Yuma does not want to get involved in that.
Yeah, they get the disengage, they get the walk away, and now, unfortunately, they are staggered a little bit with their cooldowns, but Benjaz gets taken down to tier 2. A tier 2 that is beaten to a bloody pulp. Only 400 HP left, so he definitely made work, but loses all of his spiders, loses his life. I think gives the Blink Dagger over to Sacred now, and look mid. Oh, Yuma. So many of these Ravens heroes just dying where they don't have a tier 1. They don't have any vision either. They just get caught on the other side of the high ground. Just nasty stuff.
That's even a little deceptive there, because Sacred comes in at the end to do a little bit of extra, but 90% of the work and the damage, for that matter, came from Raykill and Stinger. With the Stolen Split Earth, with the silences, they are not supposed to be able to just sort of go hunting for your carry and pick him off, but well, you saw it happen as DarkMago is going to get hit up a little bit here. He's popping the Blade Mail. Ghost Ship is going to come through as well, but the reinforcements are on their way, and your Ravens, do you still want this? Chronosphere is up, and Yuma has TP'd in. They would love to get an initiation somewhere, but the targets are so split right now, they've just got to pick somebody. They're going to try to go into DarkMago, but since he didn't pop it initially, yeah, now the Chrono has to come into play. This is going to work out relatively well, though. They got DarkMago. Can they get anyone else? Not looking like it at the moment, and they've got to be careful. Blink into Arena is available, and there's the Blink. Didn't need the Arena. Just get the Spear Stun instead. Pipi gets taken down, and BT, can Beastcoast finally get this tier 1 tower? They've been trying for a while now, but I think the coast is finally clear.
Yeah. Marker gets that tower. Stinger goes on to Brood duty, trying to deal with the spiders as easily as he can, and is a little bit more difficult because he's only got 1 point up in the Stroke of Fate, but it is still a multiplier, still does a decent chunk of damage, but Benjaz finds his tower bottom, so something for Ravens. It's sad that Yuma's Chrono doesn't get them more, but he didn't even have a damage item whenever he made that play happen. Now he's got a Maelstrom. He's going to look to build himself a little bit more before he really wants to make any more plays, but Ravens are slowly but surely getting there. Pipes done on Benjaz. Now they're going to need Yules or BKB on the Leshrac, but he's got his Bloodstone. Fights are going to get dragged out as a East Coast smoke. He's Demon, and well, Demon doesn't last very long.
Yeah, that's a pretty easy one for them. Sacred gets the kill. They're going to take a little bit of a stack here on these Ancients. Nothing major, but it's gold that you get that you steal from your opponents, so always going to be worth a little bit more. A couple of neutral items
Dire's
there
middle
as
tower
well, but
is under attack.
Question at this point, if you're Beastcoast, is what is the next step here? You're getting a BKB on Parker. BKB already done on DarkMago, so ET, do they simply keep looking for the fights with their abilities up? Do they focus more in on some objectives here? Is Roche in play for them at all? What direction should they be looking in?
Sadly, with Sacred on the Mars, Roche is not really an easy objective for either team. I hazard to say, even though Ravens have Void, and a farmed Void can kill Roche pretty quickly, but Beastcoast currently are just mode farm. They've got Greaves to look forward to. They've got a BKB on DarkMago, but it's just a BKB on DarkMago. They're going to at least wait for their Chaos Knight before they go for those big team fights, even though they are still trying to utilize 2 of those 3 lanes. They're still getting very greedy. They're splitting apart. Sacred is kind of getting run down here, and I think with the spiders, yeah, now there's no guessing. So just gets caught really in the worst possible way, but at least the pre-play is all the way up to the tier 2, so it's not like Ravens are going to push you at all, but kind of an odd death from Sacred.
Yeah, and he didn't want to take a chance on the TP with the Yuma potentially having the bash on him, but at that point, maybe you still try. Maybe the RNG is on your side and he gets out, because the way he was trying to escape there, I think he was just trying to buy time for his Blink Dagger, but obviously that didn't work out either, so very strange. He's back up in about 12 seconds though, and his teammates are actually going to look to push in right now. They do get a play onto the Broodmother, but the Cookie is able to get the Broodmother to safety, but here comes Parker pushing into the fight. They take down Cara right away, and DarkMago with his BKB activated was trying to do some extra damage, but he's got to be careful. It's starting to wear off. Pull back just a little bit. They reset that one. Quick in and out play on to a pretty low health support. Oh, Sacred, okay. He got the stun there. Do they follow it up? Yes, they do, but Yuma's able to jump away. Parker's still going in, though. BKB active. Tidal Wave catching multiple heroes out. There's going to be the Arena as well. They don't have a spear for this, though. And now the Chrono will be deployed. Parker's in trouble. No one can save him. Stolen Chrono by Raykill actually stuns DarkMago. And now he's going to die. Okay, well, Raykill, that was a slight mistake here. He's going to pay with his life as well, and Beastcoast just have to full-on retreat.
Raykill, the paid actor, the free agent, working against them. Beastcoast, it's a 6v4. You gotta be careful. You can't trust this guy with the spells, but no, it's a great chrono from Yuma, and you already see he pushed into Roche for a second there, but a huge win. They just keep the fight going long enough to kite out the BKBs, especially Parker's. Just felt like he was unable to hit at all during his BKB. He just got dragged around in the trees, just wasn't able to get onto either of the supports either. The support duo survives. That's all that matters.
Just contribute a whole hell of a lot there when you're not instantly picked off at the start of an engagement. Honestly, for Beastcoast, a little bit strange there, because that first fight, they took Cara, and then they walked away, and could have just kept it at that. Would have been looking good. Could have gone back to farming, but just get that little bit greedy. But ET, I do want to point out, we saw the tidal wave was pretty big in there, right? Pulled a couple of heroes back. They were able to set up with the Ink Swell, and if Sacred had a spear there to follow up on his own arena, that fight could have looked a lot different.
Oh, for sure. And that's where Beastcoast will still look to team fight. They're not going to get scared out of the game. They're going to look for those contests still. Sacred as well is still waiting for his own BKB, so he's going to want to force. And speaking of forces, Beastcoast are going to drag themselves into the pit. Okay. Will Ravens decide to scout out or even take a peek? It's not a blitz in the pit. It's going to take a little bit of time, but nobody's coming over. They get the hill before anything really happens. Ravens don't even know that the hill's been claimed either. And sure, scan comes through now, but it's going to be too little too late. They don't have Chrono for another 20 seconds, so that could be why, but that is absolutely free.
Took him a little bit, but it works out. They get the Aegis into the hands of Parker. Parker also now has the Mage Slayer picked up, so get a couple of hits there onto Pipi, and all of a sudden your Leshrac is not as big of a threat. So East Coast feel confident. They're going to push their way forward. Pushing in slightly the wrong direction there, as Cara was able to kind of distract them to the north, but at this point, ET, they're just operating on their opponent's side of the map entirely, not really going to back off either. So if you're Ravens, Do you have a choice to make? Do we try to fight this, or do we just dodge it out for the next 4 to 5 minutes? The way that they're TPing heroes over, it looks like they at least want to try to hold, but we'll see how they can take the fight. In the meantime, Raykill just stole webs, which I don't know if this is a chrono situation. Does Benjaz benefit from opponents' webs?
No. They also look a little bit different because there's one brood has the immortal and the other doesn't, but that's an initiation.
There's the chrono though. The Mortimer kisses are going to come in as well, but where's the damage? They need to actually kill someone off, and they weren't able to do so. Now, Review comes through, they're going to turn the fight. Arena's going to get dropped down. Review comes in as well. Benjaz just getting bounced around this fight, and Raykill actually stole the kisses even. So they've got more damage to work with here, but the fight is starting to split. The cores are going one way. The supports are just going to act as a distraction a little bit further up. But now, Yuma and Pipi are going to try to get involved a second time. They know that the BKBs are down. DarkMago takes that as his cue to leave. He will TP away. Does Raykill walk this one out? Yuma's got time walk up in 1, so I don't think so. He's definitely making him work for it.
He's very annoying Rubik, but there's only so much time. Yeah, tried for the time walk steal, but it's not enough. But yeah, that chrono does not feel great initially, all because the rum is already there. It's already laid at your feet. They get the BKBs off as well, so they are able to tank through a ton of that damage. And that's why Parker leaves the fight so early. And sure, ends up in his teammates dying, but you still have Aegis. You still got your Kunkka out of that situation with some great splitters from Raykill. And you do have to be very careful. That was complete vision advantage from Beastcoast. It's why Raykill gets those important steals. Should never really be able to get those Mortimer kisses. It's where Demon's just getting a little bit too close to the fights. Maybe it's time to see some more Blink Daggers picked up from Beastcoast. I think if maybe Parker can jump with Sacred, we see some more of those kind of decisive team fight wins, where if they're able to survive your first round of fighting, you're very single target on Beastcoast. And sure, all 3 of your heroes can stun another hero on Ravens, but it's where as soon as any of those disables start to whiff or start to miss, the game gets really difficult. And then you have to rely on your backline, you have to rely on Stinger. Even in that fight though, I don't even know if we got to see a pretty successive soulbind. It all ended up just feeling kind of bad for Beastcoast. And now they're getting a tier 2 slowly because of just the tree armor, but their bottom wave's all the way in. The cores are farming. Ravens are getting way more out of the map than they were in game 1.
Not just sort of sitting back and watching this happen. As Parker, I don't know if this is the way you want to use your Aegis, but he may not have a choice here. He is pushing forward, and they're going to try to get onto Benjaz as quickly as they can. Ghost Ship comes through, Tidal Wave will be there as well, and Benjaz does fall. The tower goes down as well, and Parker, with the armlet toggling, hasn't actually lost his Aegis. Can Cara change that? He's going to try, but there's that toggle. Able to heal himself up. Cara is now the one in trouble. They've got the dust on him. He's going to get stunned, but their focus is on DarkMago. They need the Kunkka dead. They will be able to bring him down.
Reduce to your elements.
That is going to be something, ET, but are they greedy? Do they go for another? Yes, they do. Yuma jumps in, gets the match. That's going to be the Aegis being used. Immediate Chronosphere coming out here as well. Parker is dropping. Can they save him? It's a nice arena from Sacred, but it's too little too late. Parker goes down, Sacred falls too, and the Ravens, man, they really are just kind of holding their own in these fights, ET. That's what Benjaz did the entire time. He gets picked off right at the very start, but to a certain extent that almost helps them because so many of those BKBs get used early that by the time the second round of fighting with the Chrono comes in, no one had any sort of defensive capabilities.
Yeah, DarkMago got a little bit excited, a little bit too excited. The entire reason that goes down is because he decides to pop his BKB so early. And then Pipi goes to bottom wave, kills Stinger, gets even more of the map, starts to move around. But then, I think most importantly, they get the perfect chain sim there on Parker. No BKB from the CK. He had a lot more to give in that actual fight, post-Aegis, post-Chrono, but we don't get to see it. We also don't get to see Raykill stolen Overgrowth either, and he does decide to keep it around, doesn't try for a steal attempt on the left track to maybe get splitters, so there is an Overgrowth kind of sitting in the background there for the Rubik, but it's just a perfect Chrono placement. It locked out all of the support from Beastcoast, so all they could do really was watch or vainly try to get into the fight, which is what Sacred did, and Sacred died as well.
Well, we are seeing a pretty major item in the works here for Parker, getting himself closer to the Heart of Tarask pickup, so might be able to avoid some of those situations that we just saw where his health is kind of borderline. He's trying to armlet toggle his way out of, X, Y, and Z, so with a heart, maybe you don't have to worry about that. DarkMago, meanwhile, is very close to an AC as well, so a lot of items that are just going to bump up the durability here of Beastcoast and maybe make those scenarios where their BKBs run down early a little bit less scary.
And in the meantime, without the Aegis, pushing directly into Chronosphere does not feel like a play that Beastcoast want to make. No, Parker just finished up his Heart of Tarask. You could see a little bit of a waiting game transpired here. Got a lot of scary items, though, still in queue for Beastcoast. Mainly this AC for DarkMago. I always talk about with Kunkka. It's a fantastic damage item on the hero. Just makes you so much more potent in the team fights, while still also helping your longevity. But while this is going on, Ravens are also very confidently splitting the map. This is a very different Ravens. Feeling a little bit less scared, especially the cores on Yuma and Pipi. Feel like they can actually farm a lot of these creep waves. They're still maybe a little bit behind their opponents. Beastcoast are still playing even further away from each other, but is definitely more competitive than game one. And Yuma especially is getting to that point that on previous teams, especially D2 Hustlers, loves to be that 35-40 minute point where Yuma's got 2 or 3 items in addition to his BKB, where he really starts to become the hero of the team. But top, they're pushing, they're pestering the tier 2. They know that Yuma's TP'd in now. This might just be a call to retreat, but this is a scary push, and they smoke. They want the initiation, and it's daytime. It's easy for them to jump right now.
They've got a little bit of vision here as well, so they're going to try and push forward. East Coast spreading out a little bit. Sacred, though, did just get hit up by the slow. He's able to walk away. Just going to reset at the moment. DarkMago, though, is very close. And, Yuma. It's a little bit awkward. Just jumped into a torrent. Tidal Wave is going to pull him back a little bit, but DarkMago, I don't know. He's trying to keep heroes distracted, trying to mess up the timings, but it's not really an opening to go all the way in.
Now they kind of peel back, give some more time over, get the D wards going, and as soon as Beastcoast are in the dark, they just have to retreat. As soon as they lose their wards, they know there's just no sense in going for the push. And Ravens get them away, but Ravens also go for a resmoke. They want that engagement still. They're still fiending for it. And Yuma gonna break on DarkMago, and with the Kunkka seeing him, he knows that is probably the worst target he could look for, even though they're trying to get DarkMago right now. They're chain stunning him up. If they get him before BKB, and they got it.
BKB is activated, so DarkMago has to just kind of back off. Raykill took, oh god, spawn spider lines, but Pipi is all the way forward. Pops his own Yule Scepter, trying to keep the fight going. DarkMago does get taken down, and now they're on to Sacred as well. Just completely bypassing the frontline defenses there. They find a second kill is what I was going to say there. As Pipi keeps on pushing and will get the job done. And at a certain point for Beastcoast, they're going to take a step back. They've got to really communicate what it is they want here, because that's the, I think, 3rd fight in a row where DarkMago's just too far forward, trying to get too much done, and the rest of the team isn't in a position to follow up.
They're going here, but oh my god, Chrono.
Well, Yuma did just get stunned inside of his own Chrono, so the damage isn't going to come out immediately, but now he just starts hacking away. Stinger will fall, Pi's back immediately, but by the time he's back into the fight, Parker's going to die too, and East Coast, I don't know. They kind of lost a step there, and Ravens are just absolutely punishing every single misplay.
Yeah, and they are hard staggered. Hard staggered where their CK doesn't have buyback either. And sure, Pipi needs to get a little bit of mana here, but Goodluck is going to come through, and it looks like Beastcoast should be able to defend their bottom racks here. Threat of the Kunkka is still very scary, especially when they don't have their BKBs, but 12k gold lead for Ravens. They're doing it. They're getting themselves in a great spot. All they have to do now is take this little bit of time, this downtime in between the team fights to get great vision over towards the pit, and then they're set up for the Roche fight. And then all they have to do is hit another Chrono. Of course, now Beastcoast are going to be too afraid to push in immediately. There's no Chrono for 75 seconds. They'd love to punish the lack of that ability, but they're also not very much stronger. They've thrown their head against the wall time and time again. I don't think they can really take another team fight loss. Ravens haven't even turned any of that gold from those wins into items yet. All of these big items are still in queue. They're getting done now, though. And then they're going to look for another team fight. And then if they win that, they might just straight up win the game. This is the force, though. Beastcoast, 50 seconds, trying to go before that Chronosphere is back up. And Ravens have to win a fight without Yuma carrying them.
Roche attempt is underway, but here comes Ravens pushing forward. Sacred trying to act as a distraction, but Pipi still got into the pit. Parker, though, is not stopping. He's still hitting Roche, even though his health is starting to drop, but his teammates, they do turn around. They're going to try and make something happen here. Parker does get his hands on the Aegis, but he's going to lose it immediately, and here's his team. Again, it just feels like they're not on the same page. Parker says, I'm going to stick it. I'm going after Roche. His teammates all back away. So cool, you got the Aegis, but now he's dead again, and he doesn't have buyback again, so... I mean, Ravens just have an opportunity here. Their creep wave is gonna have to catch up, but it's only a few seconds behind, and they can do some more damage to the base.
Going in now. They have every right to. Let's try to be committed. There you go. It's a singular Chrono, but it's on the core, and you check in, there's no buyback, and now... Well, they also know there's no glitch, and they're not even going to chance it. Beastcoast throw in the towel. That's it.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
It's been a while since we've seen Beastcoast just not have it all together there, right? Those last handful of team fights, it legitimately seemed like half the squad had one.
Dire team ban.
Beastcoast's turn to
Dire
ban.
team ban. Ten seconds remaining.